is back once again with your host Brian and Ravi. We're
Yes,
getting
yes.
into it this week. Ravi, what you got to say to the people?
Hey man, we're good to go. Last week I enjoyed the hospitality of the Beyond the Locker Room studios.
I
This
like
week
that.
we're doing it live via satellite.
Exactly, no doubt. And so we got two topics today, so we got a lot to cover in the next few minutes. First topic for today. Oh, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin Love, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've avoided this topic for most of this season. We've hinted at it.
We have. We've let these other outlets run with that.
Right, we've touched on it, tickled it a little bit. But
It was
now
it was low hanging fruit.
yeah, exactly. But now it's just come to a head where it must be addressed. Oh boy, you want to start?
I will start off because I think I have a good idea of where you stand on, on the situation.
Oh, my BBM? My BBM was that clue?
So, first off, a lot of the criticism that is aimed towards Love right now is I think a lot of it is deserved. There's no arguing that. But I think it's you also have to kind of look at the other side of the situation where I'm looking at his situation in Cleveland, and I think to a certain extent he's been marginalized in that offense. Him coming into that situation, and the other half of it is him, I guess not fitting into a certain extent. And a lot of stuff blew up this week with him going on certain.
He's fitting out.
I'll get to that part of it. A lot of stuff hit the fan this week because he was on a few radio shows and he made some comments, and different people took those comments in different ways. Some of the things he said, regarding LeBron specifically, he's like, hey, we're not the best of friends. We're still getting acclimated to each other to a certain extent. A lot of people made a big deal when he said, I think he said Westbrook should win the MVP over LeBron. People made a big thing of that. I don't think, to me, it's not a big thing personally, but, I don't know. It's one of those situations where I see the side where, you got to fit in, you got to kind of play the role. And as bad as he's been playing this year, he's still giving them 18-7, 18-8.
I think it's more than that, man. I thought his numbers were 17 and 11 or something, wasn't he?
Is it? I thought it was about 18-7.
I think he's getting like a double. Yeah, okay, you're right. I thought he was more of a double-double. I had to double check that quick, but I'm pretty sure he's getting a double-double still.
Yeah. And again, I'll finish up quickly here so you can give your take. But I don't want to say LeBron is to blame for some of this stuff, but I think LeBron has displayed a little bit, if you want to call it, some passive aggressive emo type behavior on social media. And it's putting out certain tweets or putting out pictures on Instagram with certain types of captions. All that stuff. It's so. I come from an era where I would handle that stuff in the locker room. Now, if let's say he tried to handle it in the locker room and it's not working, and he thinks maybe this is the way to do it.
Right.
Okay, that's up to that's his approach. I don't think it's the right approach, me personally. Mm-hmm. But whatever issues he has with Love, the reason why Love is in Cleveland is because LeBron wanted him in Cleveland.
Right.
LeBron put this team together. Yeah, outside, we're on the outside looking in, but Love is there because LeBron wanted him there. So, I think a lot of it is on LeBron to try to make it work. Whatever approach he chooses to use to do so. I haven't agreed with a lot of his methods, so to speak. But that's where I stand on that, man.
All right, okay. So let me pick up where you just left off. Let me get to LeBron. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, LeBron. You're the king. If you got an issue with Love, just step in the man, just deal with it one time. Man, all this passive aggressive BS. I'm putting up Instagram pictures and we're 12 or so. Come on, son, get off of that nonsense, man. Yeah, you know me, I'm down with the king, but this nonsense, really, it's a bit much. I was willing to go to a certain extent with the fit in, fit out statement. Okay, play a little mind game, but the last bit here with the Instagram crap and stuff like that, whatever. So that's on LeBron's part of things. Now, what has stemmed that in this case here's my thing with this. It takes two to tango. And my mindset is this case that Love, I said before, I said it on BBM. If Kevin Love in this case has a reputation that if in this case, if he was a darker shade in this case here, he would be getting ripped in this case across the board because he almost got pretty much run out of Minnesota. Rubio was packing his bags as he left. People forgot Rubio put shots. It wasn't even subliminal. He pretty much said, yeah, it's been nice knowing you. Get out of here. Okay. So his teammates in this case couldn't wait in this case. Remember we pretty much threw him on the bus last season of that game? So if I'm basing it on purely reputation for the guy in this case throughout his career that's taking photographs of his teammates, LeBron's issue used to be LeBron was too chummy and wanted to be too much of friends with folks in this case as teammates. So as far as being a good teammate, no one really had any beef with LeBron as being a good or bad teammate, be it in Cleveland the first time or Miami or heck when he's in high school, you know, or even anyone else on the team right now. Okay, the fact he could recruit half the team in this case to come play with him says already a lot about him. Now, I'm not saying that I like how he went about things, but I'll take my reputation. The guy has been a pretty good teammate for his 12 seasons and growing up, even in high school, versus the guy in this case that was a little different in UCLA, a tad bit of a malcontent in Minnesota, and now here we get to Cleveland now. He's there having a little hissy fits in the middle of the court, you know, when he doesn't get the ball. Like, really? Dude, you know, spare me. Play some defense. Try that. Okay? Now, is the coach not misusing him? Yeah, he got to take an L on that too. Because let me tell you something. Having a guy that loves skill set just sitting out in the corner, you might as well have Channing Frye out there. That would make no damn sense. You know? Well,
I mean, aside from sitting out in the corner, there were been 3 or 4 games within the past couple of weeks where he sat out the entire fourth
quarter. Now, in this case here, I actually don't have an issue with that. Because it ain't manning. This is kind of going back to what we were just talking offline just now about Valanciunas. If you're not D'ing your man up and you're becoming a liability on defense and the game's getting to crunch time, I can't have you on the floor. You better show me what you do in the first 3 quarters to get that type of thing. The quote, you're a man. This isn't Minnesota.
No. Well played. Well played.
And the bunch of Triple H on you there, man.
Well played. I wasn't expecting that one, boy.
Okay?
My mouth is open, B. My mouth is open.
Drop down, yeah. You're not going to go and get away and just play matador defense for 3 quarters and think you can get run in the 4th? Heck no. This is for big time. This is where the big dogs play. You know, you ain't get that. When you're playing there on some NBA TV game of the week and no one's noticing it, yeah, you could get away doing that nonsense. But you're not doing that here. Not on TNT on a Thursday night. That ain't happening. So, as far as I'm concerned, oh, by the way, his number 16.5 and 10. So, as bad as he looks he's playing, those numbers are pretty much almost all-star numbers for anybody else.
Very true.
So, that shows you the talent that Love still has, and needs to be respected. But his kind of I'm fitting out, and really, dude, are you part of the team or not? To me, it looked almost like he came in here, he's doing a test drive of a car, he's kind of feeling it out, but he ain't really committed to buying the car, right? And it's teammates notice that. It's are you in or are you out? What's the deal with you, man? So, and so he's got to be professional on his side of things, and maybe in this case, the other guys won't react that way with him.
Well, I agree, but I mean, I think at the beginning of the season too, I think LeBron also had some issues to a certain extent, not to this extent, but he did have some issues with how Kyrie was playing to start the year.
Right.
And I don't recall him taking these types of shots at Kyrie via social media or some of the other subliminals that he's doing.
Well, don't forget he and Kyrie had a big argument in the locker room, though.
True.
Right.
True.
They're telling me about TV shows. Right. Right. It's about, I like Survivor's Remorse too. Nice little show that LeBron produced. But I'm sorry. You ain't getting that amped up over that, okay? Sorry. What the heck? They all talk about the Jeffersons or something like that. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that crap.
This is exactly why we stayed away from Cleveland all year.
All year. Exactly. Because the layer is peeling off. But anyways, man, I've said my piece on Love. I think in this case here, if Cleveland, I think Cleveland's good enough to win the Eastern Conference without Love being a key component. They can't win the championship without him playing a key role.
But here's the thing, though, because now they've given up the potential Rookie of the Year this year, basically to get Love.
Right.
And they gave up their number 1 pick last year, and I mean, granted, Bennett did not turn out the way we envisioned him, but I think he's much improved this season.
Yeah.
And so if Love walks, and he doesn't agree to a sign and trade, they end up losing Wiggins for nothing. Basically,
Okay,
pretty much.
I hear what you said, and I get everyone's point on that. My only point would be is if they had Wiggins, would be they in the position they're in now where they potentially could win a championship. That's the point, I would say no. I would say no. I would say no. That team would not be ready. This team right now, based how it is now, even with Wiggins, who in the long run, yes, but in the short term, as of this year, I don't know about that, man.
I don't know, man. That one, I don't know if I can co-sign on that one. That one the way that Wiggins is, granted, he's a different situation, so he's been allowed to flourish, a little more than he would have, I guess, in Cleveland. And his numbers are higher than they would have been in Cleveland, just because of the fact that you're playing Minnesota.
Well, look what would happen then. You kept the things as the same. You're waiting on Wiggins to come around. Your forward position now is still in question because now you're putting more pressure on Thompson to play big time minutes, as well as Bennett, who now still ain't ready for prime time.
But no, Bennett's not ready for prime time. But the thing is, if you're not utilizing Love, if you're sitting the guy out in the fourth quarter, well, what sense does it make anyway?
But here's my point in this case here: you still giving you 17 and 10, and none of the two guys I gave you ain't giving you 17 and 10. Tristan Thompson's not giving you 17 and 10.
No, he's not. No. I wasn't going that far.
Right.
I wasn't going that far.
So that's my point. That the two of them, even combined, I'm sure they give you 17 and 10. My point is that when prime time comes with that, if that team stayed what it was for the most part, assuming, let's say, I don't even know if you can say, well, assuming they can make the trades like they did before Mozgov and J.R. Smith. So say everything else stay the same, and the trades happen the way they were with Wiggins and those guys.
Yeah.
I'm not sure in this case that team would go into a second round series, heck, even a first round series, say they're playing Miami and beat Miami. Not with that group.
I think they would, man. I think they would.
Well, fair enough. Anyways, we're way over time on Love. You see what happens when they bring you into their death spiral in Cleveland?
Like I said, man.
Anyway.
we almost, like I said, we almost made it the full season without going in there.
I know. Oh, jeez. Well, let's move on, man. So, topic number 2. Some news came about, I guess it was Sunday. It started trickling out on Sunday. Obviously, the big newscast started talking about it on Monday. The retirement of one Steve Nash, coming from Santa Clara, coming from Vancouver, Santa Clara. Victoria, sorry. He's a Victoria boy, sorry. Then Santa Clara. And, of course, they went to Big D. And then we moved, unfortunately, he moved on to Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yep.
And he actually drafted by Phoenix, wasn't he?
He was drafted by Phoenix.
They got the trade to Dallas, and then he went back to Phoenix. So, he's retired. We knew this was coming out at the end of the season. Sometime during the year, it was going to happen. But he wanted to keep getting them checks, as long as he could.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I didn't blame him one bit.
The only thing I didn't like was getting checks from my team. So I didn't like that part of it.
Your team's like the ATM, but everyone's getting checks from them. I think Bynum's still getting checks from you guys.
Bynum, Mike Brown, Mike D'Antoni. Everyone's getting checks.
Everyone getting checks. There you go.
Everyone has that pin.
One for you. You get a check.
You get a check.
Oh, man.
Everyone has that pin.
You're right. There's a lot of dudes that sit at home right now getting a lot of money, guy Kobe. There's a lot of dudes that get a lot of money.
Oh, man.
Anyways, Lakers, another team we want to go to the death spiral discussing them. Anyhow, so Steve Nash, man. I'll just get some of my thoughts, man. I think, as much as we know in this case what Vince meant to Canadian basketball, I think the other component of that's kind of the bookends part, was not only seeing a player in the city of Toronto be as big as he was, Vince Carter. I think seeing someone that was your own guy do it as big at the highest level was the other piece of the puzzle in this case, to see what we're seeing now. And watching how, we're watching basketball in Canada flourish. Steve Nash was a huge part of that, man. It's like, it's one thing to see, like, players that you see that, make ends of benches, like, Bill Wennington and some other guys, that had nice careers in college. They're decent role players or bench players. But to actually see a guy that was a star player playing that came from your country. I think Nash, what I always remember Nash was Nash's performance, I think in the World Championships. Mm-hmm. With the Canadian national team. That's really, I think, where everything clicked for him at that point. I can't remember what his stats were at Phoenix before that, Dallas before that. I think he was with Dallas at the time. But I think that's where you really got to see his true potential come to fruition. When Dre Triel just said, here's the keys to the car, son. Go and drive. And
Exactly.
I mean, he's taking, no respect to the guys who are on the team, like Rowan Barrett and whoever, good professional guys, but the talent that was on that team and see how far he pushed them and where they went to, with just from his skill set and his moxie and guile, and smarts in this case, it was impressive, man. He's never going to be a defensive stalwart. No, he wasn't going to be. Should he have won MVP twice? I question one of them. I won't lie. I'm not trying to run his parade, but just being honest. I thought that should have gone the shot that year. That's just my thoughts on that one. But hey, Nash, no doubt. It's hard pressed to count 10-point guys before you count Nash in your top 10. That's just the fact. I mean, he created the whole. When you create a statistical format because of you you're doing it big. The 90-50-40 did not really exist. I listened to one of the podcasts. It's so true. I think Lockdown mentioned it didn't exist before Nash. I had forgotten all about it. No one used to talk about that before Nash because no one ever that was impossible.
That's right.
So, I mean, so props to Steve Nash, man. Respect. Did basketball big and did it for big for Canada. He still continues his legacy by manning the national team. I'm looking forward to see what he does with that team. So, big ups to Steve Nash, man.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up very, very nicely there. I have to put aside the last 3 years out of my mind.
Hey, man, it's like all the fall that way, man. It's all said and done.
That soured my outlook just a little bit.
You know what? Here's the thing. You can say that same line for Kobe in this case here. It's the same thing.
But no, I mean, like you said, like what he's done for Canadian basketball and throughout the country, being a great ambassador for the sport. I think he'll obviously be remembered for. I think majority of his time with the Phoenix Suns and how him and D'Antoni revolutionized that offense. Mm-hmm. I mean they had a couple bad breaks in the playoffs with some of the suspensions and things like that in the Spurs series. But I think I think one of the things that really stands out with Nash in terms of growing the sport in the country, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in the U.S. For kids seeing someone of his stature, I mean, he's not like he's not like a 7-foot center. He's not a 6'6" swing man to a certain. He's just your everyday little guy.
Right.
And kids seeing him winning 2 MVPs. You're right. 2005 should have gone to Shaq. I agree. Totally agree with you on that one. But bravo. Shout out to Steve Nash. And we'll see where he goes from here.
And one point I just want to mention here as a legacy is the fact that before it became kind of, I don't want to say in vogue, but to really speak out about social matters, mm-hmm. Steve Nash was ahead of the game, and he took some positions that people didn't find popular at the time, not because it was cool or anything like that. Like you don't forget he had I think he had his thoughts about the Iraq War.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually 2003, the All-Star game weekend.
Yep.
He had some certain anti-war T-shirts and things like that.
And hey, I think we know who was right on that one. His thoughts about the immigration policy and thoughts like that. Yep. So I mean, I think his legacy is going to be a lot bigger than just just playing basketball. There's a lot more to that from a national standpoint and then from a social standpoint. So
most definitely.
Props to Steve Nash. So, ending on that good warm note, man. Where can the good folks find you, Ravi?
You guys can find me at Mr. Ravi _Port Vita.
Okay, and you can find me at Beyond Locker Room, short for RM, folks. All right, take care, everybody. We'll catch you all next week, man.
It's a wrap.
Peace.